The biggest mistake waterfront buyers make in the Surfside neighborhood has nothing to do with the house. Two different waterfront homes can look nearly identical on paper, yet one may get you to open water significantly faster than the other one. That's because in Cape Coral, the boating experience isn't determined by the house, it's determined by the water behind it. Now, one of the reasons buyers are drawn to the Surfside area is its proximity to the South Spreader, known for wide water views, a more coastal feel, abundant wildlife, and a boating experience that feels very different from many of Cape Coral's interior canal systems. Now in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the Surfside Canal system works, how long it takes to reach open water, bridge considerations, flood zones, and what type of boating lifestyle this area is really best suited for. Let's jump into the map.
Welcome aboard. Today we're going to explore the Surfside neighborhood of Cape Coral. That's in southwest Cape Coral. We're going to tell you how long it takes to get to open water from the various areas of Surfside, talk about bridges, flood zones, and a lot of other cool information about the Surfside neighborhood. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So where is Cape Coral exactly? Cape Coral is here in Florida. We're located on the southwestern coast of Florida, just west of Fort Myers, south of Tampa, and west of Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. And then we have Naples directly to the south of us. Cape Coral is this peninsula as you see right here. And what makes Cape Coral so special is its canal systems. As we zoom in a little closer, you can see tons and tons of canals. Now these are navigatable canals. These are over 400 canals in the city of Cape Coral, the peninsula here. And as we zoom in even further, as I'm sure many of you have already done, you're gonna see boats sitting in people's backyards. Check this out. We have lifts here, canopies, just an amazing community of boaters. We have easy access out to the Gulf. And the cool thing is about Cape Coral is it's still affordable. You can buy a Gulf access home for anywhere from $600 to several $1,000,000. You can get them a little bit less than that too, but they're not near as nice and may require some updating, and probably distance to open water is quite long. But today we're going to talk all about the Surfside neighborhood. So where is Surfside neighborhood located? It's located in southwest Florida. It's located just north of Beach Parkway here to the south. And then we have Chiquita on the eastern side of Surfside. And then on the northern side, we have Veterans Parkway. And then on the western side is the South Spreader. South Spreader is the main waterway that people exit the Surfside neighborhood. So if you live here in the Surfside neighborhood, you have to traverse over to the South Spreader in order to go to the Caloosahatchee River and on out to the open water. So with that being said, if you do own a home along the Spreader, you're gonna have some amazing boat traffic going by on the weekends, and probably throughout the week during season, you'll see a parade of boats going by. So if you love watching boats, the Spreader is a great place to be. You also have the mangroves on the other side, so it's completely private. Just a really cool place and a very rare place here in Cape Coral. Very limited real estate, which means when there's limited real estate, the prices do go up. So minimum $1,000,000 if you're going to be on the South Spreader. So let's talk a little bit more about the Surfside area and what makes it so desirable. As you can see, these canals in the Surfside area, they're all really wide, which makes it really desirable. Most neighborhoods, or a lot of neighborhoods, the canals are about 80 feet across. However, like these ones here, these are close to 200 feet across. And if we zoom in even further, you have intersecting canals, which is two canals that go intersect with each other. And when you're on a corner lot like this, just absolutely incredible views of the water. And if you're facing west, you get the sunsets. If you're facing east, you're going to get those sunrises. All right, so how do we get to the open water from the Surfside neighborhood? Well, you have to go through the South Spreader. So the South Spreader is going to be right here. And as you traverse on down, we're going to go on down the whole western side of Cape Coral, the whole way on down. Not going to spend a lot of time here. Right on through here, past the Cape Harbor neighborhoods. And then right here is Rum Runners. This is Cape Harbor, a great place to go spend some time. And then on down through here and out to the river. So you say, Barry, how long is that going to take me? I'm glad you asked. We're going to get right into that. First of all, I want to go over this right here. Now this used to be the Chiquita Lock. It's no longer there. However, when it was there, it did increase the time to open water. Again, no longer there. It's been completely taken out, boats can flow through just fine. Your closest place, if you want to go have dinner on the water, you want to take your boat and pull it up, you have rum runners right here, and then you have some other great restaurants right back here as well. And then the other one that you would go to from the Surfside neighborhood is Tarpon Point, which sits right here with the Westin Hotel and several restaurants here on the water that you can pull your boat right up. They have a limited amount of slips that are there, transient slips for boaters to be able to pull up and enjoy. All right, let's jump back to the Surfside neighborhood because that's what we're talking about today. Here we go. This is Surfside. Let's take a look at open water. We're gonna look at open water, distance to open water. Then we're gonna jump into bridge height. And then at the end, we're gonna talk about flood zones and how that affects you and your insurance rates. So first up, let's jump here and talk about distance to open water. So the very tip of Cape Coral, or I'm sorry, the Surfside area is gonna be where Beach Parkway West and Surfside meet. This is like as far south as you can get in the Surfside area. From here, about 4.5 miles to get down to the river, what I just showed you, and it's going to take you about 45 minutes. Now, all the residential canals here in Cape Coral are going to be idle speed or minimum wake, which means you can't create a wake. You have to go very slow. Typically, this is going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 miles per hour, maybe even slower or a little bit quicker depending on the vessel that you're driving, the conditions, things of that nature. So these numbers that I'm using, they're not exact. Nothing's an exact science. However, it is going to get you a pretty accurate idea of how long it would take you to get to open water. If you're the type of person that wants to fish every single day, you want to be out on the water, you want to be island hopping, you just want to be out there enjoying it, probably the Surfside neighborhood is not for you because you're looking at 45 minutes at minimum every single day to get to open water. Now, if you're the guy that wants to just have a nice canal in his backyard, you want to have a beautiful home in a newer area, and you're okay with traversing out to the open water, taking you 45 minutes to an hour plus, and maybe you're doing it once a month, a couple times a month, then the Surfside neighborhood may be a great place for you. So let's jump in a little bit deeper and see where we're at. If we progress up here, this is the Hernando Canal. This is where the bridge, the Surfside bridge goes over the canal on Surfside. From here, it's going to take you about 5.3 miles and 53 minutes out to open water. Again, the homes here on the spread are absolutely amazing. And one thing I'll point out as well is these finger peninsulas here. This is really desirable real estate as well. Anytime you have homes on both sides of the street that are golf access homes, as you can see, that drives up the value. If we jump over to this peninsula, we have golf access on the outside, and then we have landlocked homes on the inside, or dry lots, homes on the inside. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to kill the value of these homes because they're still very desirable. It's just typically you're going to pay a premium to be on a street like this, as there aren't as many of those in the city of Cape Coral. Other places you're going to pay a premium are areas such as this, where you get a nice corner lot with a lot of waterfront. Typical waterfront in Cape Coral for a golf access canal is about 80 feet. On a normal lot. However, on these corner lots, you can get substantially more depending on how big the lot is. Okay, let's move right along. We're still here in the southern part of the Surfside neighborhood. As you can notice, these huge wide canals, which is really desirable, and that's what makes the Surfside area so incredible. Still a lot of empty spaces too, I'll point out. You have empty lots throughout, which what that means is opportunity to come in and build a brand new house, where a little bit further south, you don't have these open lots. Now these lots do go at a premium, typically several $100,000 to be on the water here in the Surfside area just for the land itself. Okay, here we've got Oasis. Now Oasis, the bridge that goes over the canal on Oasis, this is the Rose Canal. It's going to be about 6.5 miles out to open water. And you're looking at about an hour and 5 minutes. That's just north of Beach Parkway, still in the southern part. And then the last one we're going to look at here in the southern part of Surfside, if we go the whole way over here to the Perch Canal, you're looking at 7.5 miles to get to the river and probably about an hour and 15 minutes to traverse to the river. All right, something fun right here. You have Watermelon Canal, Coffee Canal, and I believe the other one is called Papaya Canal. But All of our canals are named. There's a list of them on the City of Cape Coral's website, so you can go ahead and look at that and see what all the canals are named by. All right, as you can see, we have bridges here too, so you do have to traverse under bridges, so that's going to really restrict you on the type of boat you can or cannot have, depending on the type of bridge, the height of the bridge, when you're going out to open water. On the south spreader, these are unrestricted, meaning there aren't any bridges. They're sailboat canals. You can go completely out to the water. You have nothing to worry about. You can take your sailboat right on out. There are no bridges to go under. However, once you go under a bridge or back behind a bridge, then you have to start concerning yourself with the type of boat that you have, whether it's a T-top or what type of boat that you have. A lot of the center consoles can be too high, but there are a lot of the 26 foot, 28 foot are typically just fine back here. And then we're going to jump on up here. We're going to venture up the south spreader to where it meets the Jelsies Canal. That's the very top end of the south spreader. And from here, it's 6.8 miles. You're looking at about an hour to get out to the river. Now, the only way out of this northern part is underneath Surfside here at the Maxine Canal. There's a bridge. Now from here, it's going to take 7.5 miles to get out in about an hour and 15 minutes. So these neighborhoods back here are really sharp looking when you drive through them. They're well kept. They're really nice. However, if you're a daily boater or even a weekly boater, it might be a bit of a stretch or a stress to be back here in these canals. Even though the neighborhoods are nice, the homes look nice, there's some beautiful new homes throughout that have recently been built, and they're very affordable. But then when you put it together, they're affordable because the time to open water is substantially longer than if you were in the southern part of Cape Coral. Okay, where else are we going? Let's jump over here to Killer Lake. This is the Killer Lake and Killer Canal. From over here, 9.3 miles, about an hour and 20 minutes to get to open water. Now this could be a little more than that, a little less than that, depending on, again, what boat you have and the conditions. This is almost over to Chiquita. Chiquita is right here. So to get into this neighborhood, you would come down Veterans onto Chiquita and then into the neighborhood. And then we're going to look at one more distance to open water, and this is the Progress Canal. Now, most people don't even know that these homes are Gulf access north of Veterans. This is the only area north of Veterans here in the southwestern part of Cape Coral that actually has Gulf access, and it's the Progress Canal right here. It goes under Veterans, and then it goes under Trafalgar. So the whole way up to the top, you're looking at about 11 miles to get out to open water, and it says an hour and 35 minutes. Now I'm sure if you've ever taken that trip from this neighborhood to get to the river, you're probably looking at over an hour and 35 minutes. You're probably looking at closer to 2 hours by the time you get there at the end of the day, because these are skinny canals. They take a little bit longer to traverse, and it's just a long haul to get out there. And then when you have to come back, another long haul. However, you will look on Zillow or wherever else, and you'll find some amazing value on homes here. They're building newer homes here in these vacant lots. Beautiful homes, absolutely. You can get a brand new home on a Gulf access canal for under $800,000. However, the challenge is going out to open water. So if you're not concerned about taking your boat out often, it may be a good fit for you. But understand the resale value goes down substantially as well when you're on one of these canals. But you're going to pay less when you buy it, so it's a trade-off. Again, we come down the Progress Canal here, and we're seeing a lot of newer homes built along here. And then on the other side of Veterans, we see all these lots here. A lot of these lots have been filled in now with brand new homes. So if you're seeing those on Zillow, they're beautiful homes. Just understand they're going to take a little bit longer to get out to open water. Another area that we're seeing too is this area here with a lot of brand new beautiful homes being built out here in the last couple of years. So that gives you an idea for the Surfside neighborhood, anywhere from 45 minutes to almost 2 hours out to open water. Other things that we can point out here on this map is going to be the school systems. There's a couple of Lee County schools here. We have the Oasis Charter Schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. We have Ida Baker High School, and then we have the middle school and elementary school over here. This area here is the water reclamation center where they bring in the water, clean the water, but it is very well hidden by the trees. So if you're living over in this area, you don't really notice it at all. It's kind of hidden back there. And then this is a park right here that you can go and traverse. Next up, we're going to look at bridge height, because that's extremely important as well to know what type of boat that you can buy, where you can park it at behind your house, because a lot of people have thought about buying this house here, but then to find out they've got a sailboat and there's a bridge, they can't get under the bridge. Or maybe they have a longer boat or T-top and they're having issues and they can't park it back there. So we're going to look at that. We'll look at what type of boats you can park here in just a moment. So let's dive into that.
Real quick, one thing I've learned after helping so many out-of-town buyers and sellers is that the people who have the smoothest transition are usually the ones who take the time to put together a game plan before they buy or sell. So if you're seriously considering buying a second home, a vacation home, retiring, relocating, or selling here in Cape Coral, I'll put a link below where you can schedule a complimentary one-on-one Zoom strategy call with me. We can talk through the different waterfront neighborhoods, boating access, flood zones, pricing, lifestyle, and help you figure out which area truly fits the kind of Southwest Florida lifestyle you've been dreaming about. I also have systems in place specifically designed to help out-of-town buyers and sellers navigate the process remotely and make the transition to Southwest Florida feel simple, organized, and low stress. All right, let's get back into the video.
All right, next up, we're going to jump into bridge height, which determines exactly what type of boat you can park in your backyard. I know that many of you have the ideal boat in your mind of exactly what you want to have here in Cape Coral. Maybe you already have it up north, you're going to bring it down, or maybe when you get down here, you're going to buy an amazing center console, or you're thinking about a sailboat going out and sailing. But it really is important to understand the bridge height before you purchase the home. That's what I go over with all my clients. Understand bridge height, distance to open water, because you don't want any surprises when you're spending several $100,000 or over $1 million for an incredible home to find out that you can't even park the boat that you want to park in the back. So let's go ahead and jump into the Surfside neighborhood here, bridge height. First, we're going to go look at the spreader. So the south spreader does not have any bridges. That goes the whole way up here to the Jesse's Canal, the Maxine Canal. This whole area here, you're completely open. Can you do that? That means you can park sailboats there. That means you can park bigger boats, cabin cruisers, things like that. If we zoom in here, you're going to notice some pretty big boats in this area. Like here's a couple right here. Like these boats here, they're over 40 feet long. They're parking some incredible boats up here. These lot widths are about 80 feet. So as you can see, this boat's probably closer to 50 feet right here. And then as you'll see, once we get back behind the bridge, the boats get a lot smaller. Now this is the Hernando Canal here going out underneath Surfside. This bridge at high tide is 8 feet 6 inches. So you need to make sure that your boat can fit under that at high tide, or you're going to be waiting to get back home. As we go into here, we can see that the boat size starts to get quite a bit smaller. I would say here you're going to park anywhere from about a 20 foot to 30 foot boat, maybe 28 foot, 30 foot might stretch it depending on how high it is. That's really the key factor there. You definitely want to be able to get under the bridge. So a lot of people have deck boats, some center consoles, some dual consoles, things like that will be parked back here. But let's take a look. But this bridge here, and I want to point this out, this bridge here, 8 feet 6 inches. Now, if we go back a little bit further, there's two other bridges in the system here. The one that goes under Oasis. This is the Rose Canal. This is 9 feet 6 inches. So you think, oh wow, 9 feet 6 inches. Well, that really doesn't mean anything if you're trying to get out to the open water, because you really need to look at the furthest bridge out, which is obviously the Hernando Canal, which is 8 feet 6 inches. So that's the number you're looking at. Even though this bridge here is going to be 9 feet 6 inches, and this bridge here under Aqua Linda is 9 feet 6 inches, it doesn't really matter, because the bridge that gets you out to the spreader and the open water is 8 feet 6 inches. All right, let's jump up here. Jump on up here to the Maxine Canal, and this is where it really gets a little bit crazy, because you have to understand this bridge here going under Surfside is only 8 feet. So that's really going to limit you back in this area. Like I said before, you have some beautiful homes here, some really nice neighborhoods back here, some brand new homes, a really comfortable area for both families and retirees. However, if you're planning on having a bigger boat, it's probably not going to work back in this canal system. This canal or this bridge is 8 feet. Here, the front of the Patricia Canal, it's at 8 feet also. On the Buddy Canal back here, we're actually sitting at 8 feet 6 inches, which is definitely a little bit higher. But again, 8 feet 6 inches doesn't really matter when you're getting out at 8 feet. And you'll see these boats back here are certainly a little bit smaller. Here's some here. This is the beauty of Cape Coral, where you can park your boat right in your backyard. Miles and miles of canals. So let's jump back in a little further. This is the Action Canal. Bridge is 9 feet 6 inches. And then, like we just talked about, the Progress Canal, 8 feet 3 inches. And then we're going on up on the other side of Veterans. The Trafalgar Bridge here, Trafalgar, is 7 feet 9 inches. Something else I want to point out to you, if you look at this right here, you might think, oh wow, I can go this direction. Well, Chiquita is the max. You can't go any further east than Chiquita when you're in this canal system. They have it blocked off here. Even though there's a bridge here, it is blocked off. This is a freshwater canal over here on the other side. And so there's no way to traverse. One of the ways, here's a quick tip, one of the ways to understand that or think about that, what's the difference between a freshwater and a Gulf access? How do you tell? Well, if you zoom in here, look at all the boats here. There are not really. The only boats you're going to find on a freshwater canal are typically like small pontoons, kayaks, things like that. And then if you come to the other side of Chiquita, oh, now we start seeing boats again. So this is how you can tell if it's a Gulf access canal or a freshwater canal. And that's the Surfside neighborhood, bridge heights in the Surfside neighborhood. Let's jump into flood zones. I think that's a really important one to cover. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Before we do that, I'm going to tell you about this little shopping center right up here, the Surfside Shops. It's a great area where you'll find a Belk, you'll find your Starbucks. Keg and Cow is a great little burger place there. And then the Torch Tiki Hut, where they have live music. Really a good time to just get out and enjoy. If you're looking for some more excitement, you can shoot right up here over to Matlacha, a little artsy district here. And they've got several restaurants on the water, Maselli's, Blue Dog, the Yucatan, where you can really go up there and enjoy. Now, if you're going to take your boat up here, it's going to be a little bit of a haul because you're going to have to go completely down to the Caloosahatchee before you can circle and come right back up to Matlacha. So make that a day trip if you're going to do that. But if you just want to go out for the evening, have a nice dinner or lunch, just shoot up here. Really convenient to get up to that area from the Surfside neighborhood. And then over here, you have your Publix, you have your Target, your Lowe's, all kinds of great restaurants right here, including one of my favorite is Hooked, which is a seafood restaurant. I'm sorry, it's a sushi restaurant. And it's one of my favorite sushi restaurants. It's called Captain Hook's right there. It's a little hole in the wall. So check that one out. That's a little tip from me to you. And then also over here on Skyline, we have the Home Depot. We have the Culver's. We just got the Applebee's right here. I'm sorry, not Applebee's. That one's going to be the Outback Steakhouse right there. The Applebee's is off of Del Prado and Veterans. But a really convenient area, easy access to Punta Gorda, up the Veterans turning into Burnstone Road, or take Veterans over to Fort Myers. To get down to downtown Cape Coral, it's pretty convenient for that as well. It just takes a little bit longer to get over there because you do have to traverse through the neighborhood to get out. If you do want to enjoy an evening out at Cape Harbor or Tarpon Point, also a great area to enjoy as well. All right, let's talk about flood zones, because oftentimes I get people on my Zoom calls, my strategy calls, and we're talking about where they want to be, and they tell me, Barry, I absolutely don't want to be in a flood zone. And I get that. I understand that that is a risk level that they don't want to take. They're more risk adverse. So let's chat about that. Let's chat about what works for them and what doesn't. Now, the thing I will tell you is there are other folks that say, Barry, I want to be as close to the river as possible. I want to be able to get out of Cape Coral and on my boat at plane going down the river as quickly as possible. And those folks understand that there is some more risk with that, or more potential cost in flood insurance, or much higher flood insurance policies. So let's take a look at the Surfside area and kind of talk about the three main flood zone categories. There's zone AE, which is a 1% chance of flooding annually. Those are the ones where your flood insurance, or I'm sorry, your mortgage lender will typically require you to have flood insurance if you're in these areas, which if you're in these areas anyways, whether you're required or not, I highly recommend having it. It just makes life a lot simpler and gives you more peace of mind. Next up is zone X500. Now it's going to be the yellow on the page here, and that's going to be a 0.2% chance of flooding in that area. So it's a medium type flood risk. About 1 in 500 chance of having a substantial flood event each year. And then you have flood zone X, which is minimal flood hazard area. So the Surfside area is mainly AE with a little bit of zone X500 mixed in. So as we cruise in here, as you can see, this is the Surfside neighborhood, and you're going to see the pink, and that's going to be zone AE, where you would be required to have flood insurance by your lender, and you are sitting at a lower elevation. Now, as you can see, sprinkled through is going to be the yellow. Now that's X500, and you say, Barry, why is X500? Look, here's some waterfront properties, X500, meaning typically their financial institutions or their financing institution is not going to require them to have flood insurance. So why is it? What happened? How did these houses get around it? Well, typically these houses are newer homes, and they're built at a much higher elevation than the homes next to them. So say this one here. So these homes here, if they're inside the yellow, the home is completely inside the yellow, that typically means that they're not going to be required to have flood insurance by their lender. Now, should they have flood insurance? I still recommend it, but it's going to be at a much lower price because they're in a much less riskier flood area. Now this home here, as you can see, not all of it is in yellow. So this home here would, I'm sure would be required to have flood insurance because it's a bit of it is in zone AE. So that's one thing to note about the Surfside neighborhood. Most of it is going to require flood insurance. However, there are some areas, as you can see, especially in the southern part, that do not require flood insurance. But what I always tell people is during the due diligence period, we'll find out exactly if your home requires flood insurance, number one, and number two, how much is that going to cost you each year? Because that can be all over the board. Some homes that I've seen, higher end homes in a very low lying area, can be $10,000 plus a year. However, other homes that sit higher elevation, maybe they're newer, and they might pay $2,000, $1,500 per year. So there's many different variables that go into that. However, I'm pretty well versed in the areas, and I can tell you which homes will require the more expensive policies, which ones would not require a policy at all typically. However, we don't know for sure until after talking with that insurance agent. And we wait till we're typically under contract to have that conversation with them, because we do have a due diligence period here in Cape Coral where we can do all of our due diligence. Typically it's 10 to 15 days to make sure that you want to go forward with the house. That's when the inspections are done. That's when we talk with the insurance company. And that's when we really tackle all the brass knuckles. Like we're gonna get the brass tacks on that one and make sure everything makes sense. So that kind of talks about flood zones there. One other note I'll make on flood zones is oftentimes if there is a house that already has flood insurance, a lot of times it is assumable, meaning you can, or transferable, meaning you can take that same insurance policy that the previous owner had, the seller had, and it could be transferred to you, giving you a much lower rate than if you were just to go out and get a new policy yourself. So always ask me about that because we want to make sure that we get you the lowest rates, but I'm pretty well versed in transferring those policies and they can help you out with that. Now, as we go further north here into the Surfside, and like we talked about the Progressive Canal over here, where it takes you a long time to get to open water, many of these houses are yellow and not in flood zones. So if you're not thinking you want to go out to open water every day or every week, then this might be a great area for you, because you can get a nice, beautiful home in this area. And most of them are sitting in flood zone X500, which means you wouldn't be required to have that flood insurance. All right, this wraps up our Surfside map tour, where we talked about flood zones, distance to open water, bridge height, and some other great restaurants in the area. If you have any questions about this, reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. If you think about buying, selling, investing, relocating, or selling in this area, go ahead and click the link below. I'd like to have that talk with you. We can put together a strategy and help you start living your Cape Coral dream. I swear we've got some of the most affordable waterfront properties you will ever find here in the Cape Coral area. So go and reach out to me. Let's chat. Looking forward to talking to you. This is going to be a series, so there's going to be a whole lot of these map tours talking about how to get to open water, time to open water, bridge height. You're really going to want to pay attention. Hit that subscribe button so you're made aware when that happens, and hit that like button so other folks can see this video as well. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Looking forward to chatting with you on Zoom.